And we're live.
All right. Hello, everyone.
Welcome back to the Pluralist method. Today, we're just going to do on our Wednesday show. Today is Wednesday, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
A little behind on the schedule, but that's all right.
Yeah.
We made it up. Today, on our quick little fun show for the week, we're going to just do a little overview of the upcoming debates on July 30th and 31st,
Yes.
the Democratic 2020
It's actually going to be
general
really
election.
exciting. It's the primaries.
Primaries,
We're looking at a pretty awesome lineup, at least for political strategy, as far as that's concerned. Because we have two in each night, there are two heavy hitters, and it kind of worked out just right. CNN.
We'll get to that. We'll get to that.
Okay.
But so for this debate, it was the same standards had to be met. The 1% in four different national polls, and I don't know the exact donor amount, but a certain amount of donors to meet the requirements, one or the other.
I think wasn't it increased by a little bit?
No, it's exactly the same.
No, it is exactly the same.
I checked that. Yeah.
Okay, I know the next debate is significantly
significantly more, up
higher.
to 2%, and I think the donor count is increased, and you have to meet both of those.
Yeah. From what I understand, there are only 5 or 6 candidates that currently qualify for the third debate already.
I'm sure as far as donors and meeting both of those,
I know,
because everybody
of
over
course,
2%
Biden, Harris,
your top 5,
Buttigieg, they're in there. I'm not sure about who else.
Sanders and Warren are in there as well.
Yeah. But they're in the top 5.
So. If we look over polling data, I mean, right now we've got O'Rourke is the only other one over 2%. I'm not sure if he's met the donor requirements.
It's possible.
Because they have to meet both of those. Most of the candidates did meet both requirements for the upcoming debate. I think there's only a handful that are, of course, are polling below 1%, such as de Blasio, Delaney, Gillibrand, Bennett. Steyer's polling pretty high, but he did not actually qualify.
For the it's going to be interesting for him due to the fact that that Steyer is actually funding a large portion of his own campaign.
Because meet the donor requirements.
Yes, that's going to be very interesting.
That's right.
So we'll I'm really interested to see how that's going to actually play out. It'll be pretty cool. And what is Steyer at currently? I have not looked at this. I haven't seen his poll numbers. Yeah.
In the national overall, he's pulling at like 0.7, and then Iowa, I don't think he even comes up on Iowa. Yeah, Iowa doesn't. No.
Okay.
But national, amongst all the major polling, they have about 0.7.
Yeah, that's actually it'll be interesting to see what his money can do.
Most of them right now have Biden still at a minimum like +5, +10.
Oh yeah,
on the spread. It's seems
Biden
a bit of a dip around the debate, but he's kind of rebounded slightly.
And I mean, well, that's actually something that's pretty well known. It's a phenomenon that's quite common in primary debates.
Forgetfulness.
Well, at least within the first couple ones.
Yeah.
You saw it.
Especially since there's so many candidates.
Exactly.
There's a lot going on. It's earlier on, so you're gonna have, I would imagine, less viewers. I'm not sure if that actually is accurate, but
there are actually fewer viewers.
A lot of a large portion of the population doesn't really care until a few months before the actual election.
Before the general election.
The general election, yeah.
We're still in primary.
They might wait like a week before primary if they're voting Democrat, and then they'll.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, who are the candidates now?
They'll search candidates and they'll see Biden or Harris or whomever just popped at the top, and then they'll go for them.
Yeah, exactly. So, but
Biden's running. I liked Obama. I'll choose him.
I was about to say something really mean, but maybe.
Go ahead.
Well, I was just about to say the individuals who probably wait till the last minute to look up the who's running in the primary probably don't remember who Biden is. Most people don't remember who their vice president was. So that is
sad. True. That is true. I thought you were gonna make a Trump joke there, but
no, but it was an ignorance joke, I guess.
It's still probably true.
Yeah.
Anyways,
okay.
We'll go. Let's move into the debate now.
All right. Do we want to start with the lineup?
First
night
one. Night one. We have the only new candidate that was able to make it in. With what was his name?
Steve Bullock.
No, who was the guy who dropped out? Swalwell dropped out. And so Steve Bullock, the governor of Montana, current governor of Montana, he was able to slip in there.
Yep. And we can talk, I mean, if you want to go over a little bit of his political strategy.
Yeah, I just did a brief little perusal of what he's about. And he really pushes that he was able to get a lot done within Montana, which is a red state traditionally.
Red state, yes.
Yeah, and push that through the state state government. He's also big on removing a lot of the so-called dark money out of politics.
Yeah.
He was one of the first, I believe, the first to actually, when the net neutrality came up, when the Obama era policy was getting revoked, he was one of the first to go against that. So I think that's something we all can agree on.
Yeah.
Especially using the service we're using right now.
Yeah, seriously. There's also, if you're looking just at political strategy, who would be, or like as far as who are his major contenders within the primary right now, and I'd say probably Klobuchar, just due to the fact that they'll probably be running in a similar kind of lane, if you will.
I believe Delaney, even though he's not really relevant, is running along the same sort of
Delaney
idea.
is as
that
well.
Kind of bipartisan,
yes.
I can get things done within a red house.
A very moderate individual.
Perhaps not even moderate, but just someone who's really pushes the fact that they're able to get stuff done when the House or
I mean, in that case,
the rest of the government isn't in your favor, I guess.
Mm-hmm. You could put Booker in there as well, but Klobuchar and Bullock have interesting paths because they're part of the Rust Belt, places where, that would be pivotal for. Well, Montana's not exactly.
Yeah,
Rust
I wouldn't really
Belt,
call Montana
close.
the Rust Belt. It's a whole different animal. Montana's kind of a very unusual case within the United States. It kind of runs along the same lines of like Alaska, I would imagine, where it's very unusual,
libertarian almost.
Yeah, where a lot of I believe have a decent amount of agriculture, recreation.
I know that a lot of.
I'm not sure the major industries in that area. I'd have to look deeper into the state, but it's a unique case compared to the rest of the U.S., the continental U.S.
Mm-hmm. But those two in particular, and there's one more, I believe. Is there anyone else?
Who, as far as
was there one guy from Ohio that was running? No, he was talking about it at one point. But
Tim Ryan's from Ohio.
Tim Ryan? Oh, that's right. So Ohio as well.
Representative from Ohio's 13th district.
Yeah, that's right. I always forget about the guy who looks like he was doing speed the entire time.
He did.
Yeah, it was bad.
I don't think he blinked once.
Yeah, but Klobuchar, him, and anyone else from like those Midwestern states that flipped between Obama and Trump, those will be.
They're really pushing the fact that they can pull some of those red voters and are addressing those concerns that a lot of the Trump voters in 2016
not exactly red voters, independent voters.
Well, I guess you could say voters for Trump. Let's say.
Yeah.
That in addressing those kind of concerns they might have had, and based on the reason they voted for Trump, why that would be, why they would not want to vote for Trump again, but kind of have an alternative.
Yes.
As opposed to someone who is a more, you could say, extreme progressive.
Yeah, or even just a classic progressive.
Yeah.
Because I wouldn't exactly put them in a.
Well, to them, they might be extreme, let's say.
Oh, yeah.
In their eyes.
Also, at some point we might want to talk about the possibility of the Sun Belt replacing the Rust Belt as a political strategy for Democrats in particular.
You said Sun Belt is Rust Belt?
Instead of the Rust Belt, the Sun Belt being Texas and Arizona, and going that route to try to gain more of the electoral votes.
I mean, they've got New Mexico.
Yeah, I mean, and Texas is due to population.
Population of the major cities.
Yeah.
It's just the growth in Austin and San Antonio.
Absolutely. It won't. I don't think it'll be great for 2020, but 2024 we should look out.
Yeah, in the near future. Mm-hmm. Maybe not next year, but we get there.
Anyway,
so the first debate on July 30th, first night, we've got, of course, Bullock, Buttigieg, Delaney, Hickenlooper, Klobuchar, O'Rourke, Ryan, Sanders, and Warren. And excuse me,
Marianne Williamson.
The orb lady herself.
Yep, Secretary of Crystals. I like it. Well, we can count one person out right off the bat. Beto O'Rourke. I do not see him making a comeback unless he truly does a shit ton of homework. Like, he has to really delve into some of these topics. He can't
not come across like a deer in the headlights. Yes. He's just trying to. Well,
the thing is, within this primary, due to the fact that there are so many people here, the ones that are really making headway kind of fall in two categories. One is they have this political charm, and they've been there. They've been in DC for a long time. They know how the game's played, and they're these politicians who play the game superbly. On the other hand,
those would be like your, I guess you'd say,
Kamala
your Bidens,
Harris,
your Harris.
Yes. On the other hand, you have these policy people, people who are through whatever method, either they're trying to enact this like huge change. I don't want to call it radical because that's got its own connotation.
Sure.
But they want to make very large changes, or they want to be very detailed in how things are going to get done. What are their plans? And they are experts in certain areas. And they're getting their message out.
It'd be like your Warrens.
Yeah. Warren specifically.
Yeah.
Of course, you have some with Booker with his gun rights legislation or proposals. A little bit. I mean, Kamala Harris has a bit of a mix as well. I'd say, even though she has a sordid history as it pertains to the criminal justice system, she was a prosecutor, and as far as the Democrats are concerned, usually prosecutors aren't really viewed very well, classically. But I mean, I would qualify her as an expert in the criminal justice system, just due to the fact that she was a lawyer, and Klobuchar as well. She was a lawyer, but yeah. Beto O'Rourke, while he has some of the political charm, he doesn't know how to play the game.
And he seems to be running almost entirely on that. He really is. Like in the first debate, I mean, with his, what do you call it? But when he started speaking Spanish and sort of to dodge the question, you know.
Yeah, it was bad because it actually made it worse because it seemed prepared.
Yeah.
Like he was reading a statement by memory.
It seemed prepared, but he seemed unprepared for the question.
Yeah, well, no. That's exactly what I'm saying. He tried to bring out the Spanish by having a pre-prepared Spanish statement that didn't relate to the question at all, which in a couple ways makes that a little weird. First off, it shows that you don't know what you're talking about regarding the question.
Sure.
Secondly,
it's like no matter what question was thrown at him, that would be his sort of prepared response.
Secondly, now if you don't know much about O'Rourke, any initial viewer might say, oh, this guy doesn't even fucking actually know Spanish. He just read a pre-prepared statement, and that's why he couldn't answer the question in Spanish. So that could be a second thing. Of course, I think he actually is, I'm not sure, don't quote me on this, but I think he is fluent or semi-fluent.
He might be.
In Spanish. But it doesn't look good as far as optics are concerned. So there are some issues there. Who I do want to talk about is, of course, Buttigieg, but we have Warren and Sanders kind of as the
two main progressives.
Yes.
Progressive front runners on the same night.
The weird thing is, Warren and Sanders, they're good friends. I don't actually think they're. I think this debate could be pretty bad for both of them. I don't think they're going to try to attack each other. I don't think they can on a lot of things because I think they agree on most. What will
it'll probably depend on who comes across better for the American people, who can better explain kind of their. And I believe Warren will probably be on that front, unless Sanders really gets some of that passion he had back in 2016.
Yeah. Well, I mean, even with the passion, I mean, the fact that Warren has delved so much deeper, in my opinion, I may not know.
Sure, but that can be difficult to come across in a short form debate like this.
True, but what I'm actually thinking would likely happen, or what could happen, what I'm hoping will happen, is a bunch of other people will attack one, and the other one will come to their rescue per se. So let's say Klobuchar or Bullock.
So it'll be a 2v8 night.
Yeah. Delaney, one of them attacks Sanders, and then Warren says, "Oh, well, actually, you're wrong because this, and this," and then that kind of steals the spotlight right there because Warren just first off knocked down someone who tried to attack a friend of hers, but she defended that initial claim with some sort of evidence.
Sure.
Which could be really good for her.
So do you think out of the two progressives on the first night, do you think one of them will sort of emerge as the victor, or do you think they'll both maybe kind of rise up amongst the eight?
Actually, no. So I thought you were asking a different question. I think I actually don't know. It depends on the strategy. I'd also like to see Buttigieg's, I guess, play within this debate as well. Sure. Well, of course,
we knew you couldn't go long without mentioning Buttigieg.
Everyone knows that I have a bit of a bias when it comes to Buttigieg. He's awesome.
Just waiting for it to come out.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, he can really, I guess, have a chance to speak clearly if he comes out and really tries to speak the way he did in the first debate. I think that will go over quite well in the first night, due to the fact that the two heavy hitters here are not going to attack him on any issues regarding race. Everyone in night one is white. Which,
well, yeah. O'Rourke would probably try to.
Actually, no, he is.
I know, but he'll okay. Try to play that. I don't know what his heritage exactly is, so we won't go into that. But
no, and
he has been known. Let's just say
fair. Actually, I'm gonna take that back. Buttigieg, actually will probably want to bring up some of the things that some of the new proposals he's brought in. I don't know if you've heard of his Marshall Plan, but it's basically a huge overhaul of I guess government to address the inequalities in America that you see, especially along racial lines. Well, there was a little bit about Reconstruction. There's poverty. Obviously, poverty rates are higher among Black Americans and Hispanic Americans when you're comparing to white Americans. So there are some plans in there to address that. Access to education and healthcare services are also among
some of the big reasons why those differences exist.
Yes, he's actually making plans to tackle the institutional
sort of addressing it from the ground up.
Yeah, and that's the way to kind of do it.
Education is a big area which really needs complete overhaul.
Yeah, so I will retract my former statement. Buttigieg will probably want to bring up his Marshall Plan because, in all honesty, he's not polling very well among black voters.
Sure.
And if he can really kind of show that he's made progress, especially from what spawned or what created this whole situation in South Bend with the kid that got shot, that kind of sprung the whole debate and kind of cast a microscope.
Kind of used as political fodder against him.
Mm-hmm. And he handled it well in the first debate. I mean, he took responsibility and said that he's gonna work extraordinarily hard to rectify these situations, and the institutional inequities that we see in American life. So, hell, that could be pretty good.
Before we move to the second night here, do you think there'll be any of the, let's say, underdogs kind of make a get a bit of a bump?
So
make themselves known.
As I well, first off, my wild card right now is Bullock. We haven't seen him in a debate, or I have not. He very well could have been in a debate before, for some sort of other primary.
Sure, he was. Yeah. I mean, he was. Yeah.
Yeah. But this will be the first time I personally get to see him debate. I don't know if he's charismatic or if he has a good debating style, something that can really wow people, kind of like how Kamala Harris did. So he's my wild card. I'll be interested to see that. In addition, I guess I'd say not really. I'm not really too up on Delaney. He looks like that guy from King of the Hill. Hickenlooper isn't bad, but I mean he's forgettable. Like just plain and simple. I don't know if you agree, but
yeah, I mean
in this primary, I should say, he's probably not a bad guy. But I've already I've looked at his particular stances on things 3 or 4 times, and I've forgotten them all. I'm sorry, he's forgettable.
Sure.
And Tim Ryan should stop doing math.
Tim Ryan's he's the next choice to bounce out.
Yeah.
In my opinion. And in
all honesty, I want Marianne Williamson to stay in till
she's
her fucking end.
She's gonna make a huge bump in the polls. She's gonna overtake. She's gonna overtake Sanders.
No, I want to see her stay in the debates because it's so much fucking fun.
She'll get the most time.
She probably will.
All questions will run through her.
Oh yeah, she's actually gonna be moderating.
She'll
by
be
the
a
end
conduit
of it.
for all questions.
All right.
All right. Before we move to the second night, I forgot to mention this at the beginning, but of course, for any tips and donations in the description, you can follow us on Twitter, and yeah, that's about it. Like and subscribe if you have not already. Also, if you have any questions, as always, I've never mentioned this before, but feel free to ask them in the comments.
We will read them at the end of the show.
Yes, we'll read them at the end.
And hopefully give a satisfactory answer.
Yeah, and I'd like to encourage that more, I think.
That's true, actually. I kind of enjoyed the comments because it actually...
Even it adds a little flair to it and helps us think on our feet,
It's useful.
All right. Anyway, so moving on to night 2.
All right.
July 31st, the end of July. So we have Bennett, Biden, Booker, Castro, de Blasio, Gabbard, Gillibrand, Harris, Inslee, and Yang. Hashtag Yang Yang. All right.
Night 2 is where it's a lot. It's going to be a lot harder to figure out who's going to come out on top.
Well, we've got Harris and Biden again.
Yes. Well, those two actually they're sharing center stage, I believe. And in addition to that, you also have Julian Castro, who also was a perceived winner, if you will, as far as the first debate was concerned. He did really well in night 1, and as well as
well, in this
Warren
specific area, I would say in this specific area
of
of
immigration.
yes.
Yes.
He definitely, I think I saw his speaking time on immigration was like almost over 50% of his total speaking time. I saw a
Yes.
breakdown of as far as what topics they covered and the speaking time for each topic. And his was like I said, over 50%, I believe,
I'll
on
actually
immigration.
I'll actually amend my one of my other statements regarding the Sun Belt and Rust Belt. If Castro ends up the main contender, I think the fact that he is a Texas Democrat.
You think he could win Texas?
I don't want to say that. I think that it would be a more
Major speculation.
Yes. No, I'm not going to
Months
say
out.
that. Yeah, I'm going to say it would be easier for him versus many of the other Democrats to gain Texas and other states like Texas, especially the border states. I mean, that could be pivotal. Cut on solely the
Hispanic vote, or
the vote for, or the ideas or issues surrounding immigration. He's actually quite progressive. So I don't know. I don't really put identity politics in this. I'm more kind of hoping that during the general election he'll probably try to backpedal a little bit some of his immigration policy. But
leave the identity politics to O'Rourke.
Yeah, exactly. But no, I think that just the fact that he's from Texas means that he probably has a better idea of what Texas citizens want, and that could correlate pretty well with the rest of the Sun Belt, which means he may be able to use that strategy. I don't know if it'd be effective, but I mean, that'd be something. What do you think?
As far as Castro in particular?
Yeah.
I mean, that seems pretty reasonable to me. I could see how he could push for that kind of thing. I don't know how helpful that would be in the general. Like, would he actually be able to turn some of those states? I don't know. Because, I mean, we're still an electoral college system, so even if he gets it, a large majority, or wouldn't be a majority, but close to a majority there, it wouldn't really matter unless he's actually able to pull that state. I mean, if he's able to pull Texas, that's
huge.
it right there almost.
Yeah. Well,
like,
no,
if you can maintain,
that would be it.
Yeah, if you can maintain, like,
if everything else from 2016,
that's what I'm saying. Like, maintain equivalent of Hillary, but flip Texas.
Oh yeah,
that's all you need.
They have it
in the bag.
It'll actually be
Yeah. I mean, Texas, I think, has the second biggest electoral
aside
vote.
from California.
California's
correct?
the most, 55, I believe, and then New York.
Yeah,
I think so.
I'd have to relook at that, but I know Texas has a.
Yeah, Texas is over 40, I believe. I think it's almost like 45, 48 or something.
Oh, 100%. So that'd be interesting to see. I'd like to see that. So who else? Well, we also have Tulsi Gabbard in the second night, and she had some people searching her name during the debate, and she may have made some sort of impact. I don't know if she's
a little splash.
Yeah, is she pulling any higher than
I think she's even below 1%.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. She's got some.
Double check on that.
Yeah, let's see.
No, I stand corrected. 1.2.
1.2. Okay, so
just
she's
above.
On that threshold. Yeah. With that being the fact, the second night, I think you're going to see a lot. Of course, you're going to see some between Kamala and Biden, but then you're going to see the rest of them kind of dividing their attacks between Kamala and Biden.
Sure.
Since they are
the front runners
in that night, it's going to be rough. And I'm going to be very interested to see how, of course, Biden did not do very well defending himself. If Kamala can do better, then she may end up shining again in the second night. And of course, you got Yang Gang.
Hashtag Yang Gang. Yang Gang is going to make a big splash as long as his mic doesn't get turned off.
Yeah, man. Dude, whenever I think about Yang, it's like I'd like to just hang out with him. Don't run for president. Just come over.
He seems to be
drinks.
better in more of the longer formats. I don't know if he does well in debate. Obviously, he's not a politician, so typically they might not have as much debate experience or being in that kind of environment. Sometimes they're able to pull it off, as we see, we have seen.
Like with Marianne Williamson. I mean, she
Sure.
did really well.
That's not who I was referring to, but sure, yeah.
Yeah, no, but you're right.
She was able to get in quite a bit of speaking time, so
That's accurate. No, but you're referring to Kamala Harris, I imagine.
No, I'm referring to Trump.
Oh.
As far as not a politician and not kind of being
okay.
in that political environment where they're used to debate and that being on that stage.
I would argue that even though he's not
effective.
a politician, he still has some short form experience just due to the fact that he was on TV.
Sure, but I mean, it's a scripted show.
That's fair. But I mean, the debates are kind of scripted.
It's up.
Too.
I mean, I'm not saying that you have to be a politician to kind of be good at it.
Okay,
It's more so. It depends on the person, how they feel in that environment.
I agree.
Coming into it as a new thing, they might not really be used to it. Even if they prepared a lot, maybe they've had. I'm sure he's probably done seminars and plenty of talks before, but that kind of thing could be. Yeah, they're pretty good. Yeah, and that kind of thing could be a little more, unexpected. Is kind of a curveball, and for the first night, So we'll see how he does on the second night. I am still curious about that. As far as I posed on the first night, underdogs. Who do you think will? Bennett, Inslee. The underdogs here are kind of
I don't see
polling around the same, you could say.
No, I'd say if anyone has kind of an underdog has a shining moment, and I might be biased on this as well. I'd say Booker.
But would you even classify him as like kind of an underdog? He could be more like he's more middle of the pack.
He is middle of the pack,
and that's what I was kind of saying. But it was tough to say if he's really who's the underdog here. I mean, clearly.
I mean, Yang, Bennett, Inslee, and Gabbard.
And Gillibrand as well.
And Gillibrand. Yeah. She's not.
And de Blasio.
But I like Gillibrand. De Blasio.
I mean, it depends on what you go off of, like known or polling. I mean.
Fair. We could kind of count de Blasio out of this race, in all honesty. I'm just going to say... If
he can't win New York, if you can't win your own
if you can't
state.
win, then you're likely not going to be able to convince the rest of America.
Sure.
And that's something that really should be understood. He should really work on his city. But
well, I can't say that he has what he's done for New York, but as far as the consensus among the people, as far as apparently he's not. Yeah, maybe he needs to work on his perception among the people. Yeah, perhaps he's putting in some good policies, but he's not coming.
Oh no, that's what I meant by when I said he should work on his city. I meant the sentiment regarding him in his city.
Sure.
But as far as underdogs, I wouldn't say any of the true underdogs would go through.
I mean, with this night, where you kind of have Biden and Harris as the big front runners, and everyone else really floats along the same lines. I mean, Castro, Yang, Gabbard, Booker, they're all running around 1% or just above or just under. Yeah. I think even Gillibrand. I mean, we can.
Yeah, Gillibrand hopefully is.
Nah, she's only at 0.4.
Dang,
she's pretty, even de Blasio is higher than
worse?
Her. Apparently.
Dude.
And Bennett and Inslee are pretty low as well. So
I like Gillibrand.
You're one of the few. Moving on. Any last comments you want to say about night 2?
Poor Gillibrand. I'm rooting for you, girl. The last thing I'll say is night 2, just like the first debate. Night 2 is going to be very much kind of people throwing a lot more haymakers. It's going to be a lot more chaotic than night 1.
See someone throw an actual haymaker.
Someone could. I mean, I think Gillibrand, to really poll well, if she punches someone right in the face,
that's the next Onion article. It's like Gillibrand punches Harris.
Oh man, why is it gotta
A wild haymaker from the right.
Oh my gosh, that would be pretty awesome actually. Oh man.
And by from the right, I mean like Mitch McConnell ran up on stage suddenly and just punched Joe Biden out.
And then he had a heart attack and had to get rushed to the ER. Yeah. How old is McConnell now?
He's probably in his 70s. I'm not sure.
Is he the same age as Biden? Older, younger?
I would say they're probably around the same age.
Yeah, I gotta see how old Mitch McConnell is. Because, I mean, of, like, these older politicians, Mitch McConnell looks like a turtle. Like an ancient turtle. And it's pretty bad.
Says the internet. I feel like he's probably actually younger than we think he is.
He's probably 50-something. He just aged. No, he's 77.
Okay, yeah, okay. That makes sense.
Okay, yep. Dang, Pelosi's 79. Woo. And of course, 76 and 77 for Biden and Sanders, respectively. Mm-hmm. Elizabeth Warren is 70, which isn't. I mean, that's on the cusp, kind of. Oh well, okay.
Moving away from the ageism.
Yes.
I briefly wanted to mention looking out a little further into January.
Mm-hmm.
It's January, right? February? January? When's the first caucus? It's February.
I want to say I'm going to say February, but I am
around that time.
100% confident.
Beginning of 2020.
Yes.
First quarter of 2020. Mm-hmm. There we go. Iowa. Who do you think has the edge there? Well, obviously Biden does right now, but do you think does anyone have kind of an advantage there overall as opposed to where they are nationally?
I'd say, you'll probably see some more of. Actually, I don't know enough about Iowa's.
It's another very unusual state. It kind of falls along those Montana.
Yeah.
It's an odd choice to be the first.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's a pretty good choice as far as.
Well, it's unusual. It's kind of like it's not very predictive of what will happen.
No,
I remember what was it, 04? No, it wasn't 04. This would have been 08. And you remember Mike Huckabee? He won Iowa. I think McCain only came in like 4th, I believe, at the time. It came in 4th at the time, and obviously Huckabee never did anything else out of that campaign. I think Ron Paul even came in like 3rd in 08. So it's not very predictive of what will come in the future.
Yeah,
You get some unusual front runners sometimes that'll creep up, and of course it's a caucus, so it's not an actual just general election.
Yeah, because New Hampshire is the first state for that. I feel like I'd have more to say on New Hampshire than I would on the Iowa caucus, just because I don't know. I don't know what motivates Iowans.
Corn. You were about to move there. What are you talking about?
Yeah, but still,
you didn't do that research at the time?
No, I knew that it got cold sometimes, and that's about it. No, I only cared about the weather. I knew that there wasn't a whole lot to do.
The band Slipknot's from Iowa. There you go.
Oh, so now we know everything about that we need to know about Iowa. So I'm
exactly
gonna nothing. It's Yang then. Yeah.
I don't think he makes much of a splash among the middle of the middle among the middle of the United States.
No,
U.S.
I honestly don't know.
What about New Hampshire as far as
New Hampshire? New Hampshire, just
it's a little more predictable.
Yes. Well, they're also pretty progressive as well. As far as like when you're comparing how progressive a state is, New Hampshire's among one of the more progressive ones, especially among the Democrats in New Hampshire. So I'd say it'd be one of the progressives.
Of course, yeah. I mean, Sanders, the state right to their east is Sanders' home state. He's the senator of Vermont.
Yeah, is it for?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Remember,
Okay,
these
yeah.
are the two
So
states
we
that
got
are kind
Vermont
of
and then yeah.
they're like side by
Okay.
side. And
And then
as we see here,
Maine is
Maine's to the north, just to the north, kind of
Yeah,
northeast.
of both. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And as you see on some of the polling data, we even have Sanders up a little bit on Biden. So
Yeah.
that could be very close, depending on when we get to
Oh,
that
yeah.
point,
I
how
think
things have gone.
as we progress further, of the progressives that you could look for,
You think a progressive will take that?
A progressive will certainly. You'll see possibly Kamala Harris if she continues to do well. Warren could do really well. Of course, Sanders is an obvious one. Aside from that, just due to the fact that
I mean, Williamson has it's polling about 1%. That's better than her national in New Hampshire. So maybe
sure,
it's the start of her run.
If it's Williamson versus Trump, then America has no more political standing. Okay, I'm sorry.
Who will you vote for?
It's obvious I'd vote for Williamson. Secretary of Crystals, man, all the way. And then I'd probably still move. Because, I mean, at least it's the lesser of two evils, I think. But it's still probably going to be pretty bad for America either way.
I think she might have some good ideas. It's just how will she actually be able to implement those, and if things will actually get done, or it'll just be kind of
I don't think anything would actually get
mess
done.
that sort of exists.
I
right
think
now.
it'd be quite chaotic, actually.
I mean, if we kind of ran off of good intentions and
oh yeah, no, she could
good ideas, that would definitely be
a
viable choice. But that's not
good
exactly.
intentions. I don't actually know a whole lot. Like I know a little bit of her like platform, but not enough.
I mean, she's fairly progressive from what I've heard.
Yes. Well, she actually reflects a segment of the kind of Democratic voting bloc. She kind of encapsulates that, or at least the way I see her, she encapsulates a portion of Democrats. It's a small portion, but it is a portion.
And the one last question I wanted to pose to you before we close up. We're getting a little bit over time here.
Okay.
And we'll grab some of these comments or statements. I don't know if we have any comments, but if anybody has any comments, toss them in.
Mm-hmm.
The Senate. Do you think there'll be a flip in the Senate? If you don't have an answer to this, you don't have a good answer, you can.
I don't have
come
a
back
good
at
answer.
me.
I won't. Well, do you have an opinion?
No,
on this?
I'm just curious if you had any thoughts on it.
I don't know, man. I'd like to see
if Trump is outed, do you think there'll be a flip, or do you think the focus will mostly be on the general presidential election?
So, from what I understand, general election cycles have a larger percentage of turnout, which really could affect quite a bit. So I just do not know.
And I believe in 2016, didn't the Senate turn red?
Yes.
So a lot of times, I don't know how this will play out exactly, and we're kind of in a new era, but based on past experience,
yeah.
Well, you'll see kind of, if a Republican candidate comes in and there's sort of people might disagree or they're not really for their policies or what they've done so far, you might see the term of that president continue, or if it's a Democrat, the term of that president continue, but you'll see the Senate flip. So you might, like in Obama's case, the Senate flipped in his second election. He lost a little of the support. He was still able to maintain and win in 2012, but he lost the Senate.
I mean, that's possible.
I believe that, I could be mistaken, but I believe that was also the case in 2004.
Okay.
Bush won again, but I may be mistaken though. Actually, that might be true. They might have won the Senate later on.
I can't speak to that. I don't remember. But I will say that the gap between the number of seats held by the Republicans versus Democrats, it's not very large.
It's 47 to 53 right now.
Yeah, I mean that's not
right here.
huge. 47-53. Okay.
Yeah. In the last, they lost 2, and Republicans gained 2.
Wait, does that which states divide? That's weird. Okay. Yeah. Well, I mean, that seems odd. I didn't know. 47 to 53. Is there a single state that kind of divided a Republican and Democratic senator?
What do you mean? There might be.
Yeah. Well, there has to be. I
mean, there's a couple, I believe.
Like mathematically, there has to be if it's 47.
That's correct. It's 100.
Or no. Yes, but due to the fact that both of them are odd numbers, that means.
Yeah, I'm sure there's probably a state that has 1 and 1.
Yeah, that's what I was asking. If there was a single state, maybe there's multiple states.
I think there is. Yeah. They aren't drawn on lines. There probably was. Well, actually, I think indicating here are these the states, the light blues, the ones that are half?
It might be.
Or the ones that are split here?
I have no idea. It's interesting either way. But I mean, that's only a few seats. Of course, there are.
Only Virginia was a few years back. What about the
independents? Because aren't there some independents? There are.
I mean, Sanders is an independent.
Sanders is an independent, and Justin Mosh is. He's a representative, I believe.
Who's Justin Mosh?
From Michigan. I got to see if he's a senator or a representative.
Anyways, I didn't want to go too deep into that. I'm just
he's
curious.
He's the guy from Michigan.
Okay.
That on the 4th of July he left the Republican Party. He's a representative. He's one of Trump's critics. One of the few. I looked at his platforms, and I mean, it's
quite a few, but it seems like one of the few that actually did something about it, and not just.
Yeah, he spoke up, and
see, a lot of them will speak up, but they won't really.
Yeah,
that'll be about it.
Yeah,
say a few words and kind of disappear into the void.
He's basically the guy who said he thinks that President Trump should be impeached after he read the Mueller report. So that's kind of a big deal because
we won't get into that. That's too much to delve into, and we're almost out of time here.
All right.
Just wanted to go through a few of these comments. Prepared statements aren't going to win my vote.
All right, who's that from?
It's from Tasha, obviously.
Ah, yay.
And she sent some dollar emojis.
Yeah.
Mitch McConnell is just that gross that his ideology is what makes him age like a prune.
Yeah. Actually, whenever I see Mitch McConnell reminds me of did you ever watch Franklin as a kid?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very much like Franklin. Anyway, keep going.
It's truly a disrespect to turtles, to be honest. Williamson is the fun drunk aunt we all want in our lives.
Yes.
I would love to see Williamson on a global scale. Just imagine her meeting world leaders and talking about love.
Oh my gosh.
That's your fiance.
Wait. Williamson could solve our issues with Iran and North Korea. Through love.
There you go. Maybe Kim Jong-un just needs a little love.
I am hitting you.
Kim Jong-un just needs a little love. He just needs a hug.
Yeah, it's very likely his dad probably didn't hug him that much.
That's probably accurate.
Yeah.
All right. You got anything else you want to say? Hint for Sunday.
Yes.
Cha-ching.
Yes.
It sounds very similar to our last hint.
Yeah, actually, yeah, the money thing.
Don't give it away.
Yeah, I was trying to think. Oh, my favorite candy bar is a Payday.
Dire Straits. Money for nothing, chicks for free. All right. Is the dog coming in? The dog coming in.
This is
There's the dog.
This is the segment.
It's the dog viewing segment.
Able to be seen. Yes. There we go, right there.
There's the dog viewing segment.
This is the little puppy. Yeah. We have to have that each week.
It's the All right. Of course, as always, if you want to donate or any tips, donations, links in the description. Yep. Be sure to like and subscribe if you have not already. Follow us on Twitter.
Yes. At Pluralist Method.
At Pluralist Method.
We need some followers, y'all.
Need some followers.
Yeah, give us some followers.
So we don't feel like fools tweeting.
Yeah, out into the ether. Like, just, it's like going into a forest
Gotta use
and just yelling.
hashtags better to get some random Russian bot followers. All right. And we will see you all Sunday.
All right. I'm Dylan.
I'm Jeremy. Thanks for watching.
All right. Have a good night.
Signing off.